Oh hey, ha, didn't see you there. Actually, I did. I'm recording a YouTube video. What's up guys? In today's video, I'm gonna be hitting a push day. Right now, I'm just wrapping up some online programming. Had some clients this morning for personal training out in the gym. Enjoying a very tasty Ghost Sour Patch Kids energy drink. Like I said, we're gonna be hitting a chest push day focused training today. I have some bench, some tricep work, some shoulders in the mix planned for the session today, and I think we're gonna cap it off with some forearms. But I do a lot of legs and pull days on this channel because that's what the bulk of my machines are set up to do. However, I wanna show some love to the push, to the pecs, to the triceps. So that's what we're gonna do today. Start it off with a little bit of a warm-up circuit. Let's get into it. I want to explain the rationale behind that little banded warm-up that I do, just to make sure that you guys are on board and that you can implement what I'm doing into your own training if you want. First movement that I do is that banded chest fly. Obviously, we're going to be doing a lot of pecs today, so I want to make sure that my pecs are warmed up. Now, I think the fly is the best movement to do that because the anatomical function of the pec is to adduct the arm or bring it toward the midline. So a fly is perfect for that, right? The second movement that I did was that band pull apart. And you might be wondering, why are you doing pulling movements to warm up for your push days? Well, there is a good amount of scapular retraction involved in benching. You wanna make sure your shoulders are tight so you're not putting them at risk. So that's why I like to do a little bit of warm up, get my scapula going. And same thing with your lats, which was the fourth. I'll skip around and go to the fourth. That single arm row is important just because you really do stabilize with your lats as you're benching, and it feels so much better when your lats are warmed up when you're pressing. And then the third movement that I did was that tricep extension. And once again, we're hitting triceps. Triceps are huge in bench. Triceps is a big part of what we're doing for this training session today. So I wanna make sure they're warmed up and ready to go. I do higher reps for my warm-ups, 2 to 3 rounds, whatever you're feeling, kind of get a sweat going, feeling like you're getting a little bit of a pump started. And that's all it is really, guys. It's not too complicated. So run that warm up. We had flies, band pull parts, tricep push downs, and a single arm row. And I really think it will improve your push days. First set is underway. Working for 6 reps here with 175. The big emphasis is on form for this first set, right? So I'm taking a very slow and controlled eccentric or lowering, pausing at the chest for 1 second, and then pushing up as explosively as I can. Once again, guys, this is hypertrophy training, so I'm not concerned with getting the weight up as quick as possible or lifting maximal loads. We're trying to stimulate muscle growth, right? Another thing that I think is really clutch for me is using a pinkies on the ring. Now, your grip width is gonna change depending on what feels best for your chest and also your limb length, but this feels money for me. Let's finish out this set. Set number 2 underway. Another thing I want to talk about is rep range and training intensity, right? So my goal here throughout this mesocycle will be to take this from anywhere from 5 to 10 reps. I'm probably not going to increase my weight a lot throughout the rest of this mesocycle. Just going to work on building up in reps. Get 7 next week, 8 the next week, 9, maybe even 10. This first week though, as you can see, I didn't take that to like true failure. It wasn't even close really. I could probably get 2 more reps and it'd be a real grinder, but you don't always want to train to failure. You want to leave a couple reps in the tank and then gradually progress your lifts and work toward that failure. If you're always training to failure, it's difficult to recover, so keep that in mind as you program your training. Alrighty guys, wrapping up this first compound movement with the third set of incline bench. As you can see, as I'm progressing through this, starting to fatigue a little bit. The rep speed is slowing down ever so slightly, but I'm trying my best to keep my form on point. That's the biggest thing. I don't want you guys to choose a weight that makes your form break down as your sets go on. So I'm trying my best. I could probably even do a little bit better to make sure my form doesn't break down, but the compound movements have been done, and now it's time to move on to the accessories. So we hit heavier, lower rep compound press, hitting the pecs, hitting the triceps. Now it's time to hit some of those more isolation movements, higher rep. Let's get this pump. First set of cable crossover flies. Huge fan of this movement, of really any fly movement for pec development, because like I said, the pec's anatomical function is adduction. So what we're wanting to do is, first and foremost, keep your form good. It's gonna be a recurring thing here. So what I focus on doing is keeping my chest up and then allowing myself to get a big stretch as these cables are going back. And then I'm really contracting hard and squeezing. My rep range goal is 10 to 15 reps. Once again, not going to true failure. I have 25 on the cables. So let's This chest pump definitely starting to hit. Took the sweatshirt off because I was starting to get a little bit warm. I want to talk a little bit about my rep count, right? You might see sometimes my rep count goes down, and I think that's actually a good thing, because let's say you're training for 2 reps in reserve, right? You want to make sure your proximity to failure is 2 reps in the tank. If you're hitting 15 for every set, that means you are sandbagging on the first 2 sets. If on that last set you hit 15 with 2 reps in reserve. So the first set was 14. I had about 3 reps in reserve with good form, maybe a little less, I don't know. And then I went 13, and then I went 12. Especially that 12th rep, as y'all see in this set, is a grinder. If you're training for this style of hypertrophy, it's okay for your reps to go down. If you're hitting a set of 10 to 15, there's not gonna be a huge difference in your hypertrophic response if you hit 10 or 15. Quite a setup I have for my first tricep movement for today. Essentially, I have all the prime attachments, and I just attach those D handles to the medium bar, and it sets you up for a great overhead extension. A lot of people don't use overhead extensions. You can use a rope. It's not my favorite, but it is a great way to train the triceps in a more stretched position, similar to a skull crusher, but with like a machine variation, right? So my focus is keeping my elbows at a fixed point, allowing them to come back a little bit to stretch the triceps, and then extending. I do like hitting these in higher rep zones, because if you load too much, you can kind of like lose stability. But shooting for anywhere from 10 to 20 reps, ended up on 15 for this set. I'm gonna say it right now, guys, if you haven't run an overhead tricep extension, try it out with either a flat bar or a rope, and let me know what you think, because I think it hits really well. Well guys, I had a little bit of a revelation of a better way to do this as I was doing it. And you can set this up at pretty much any commercial gym. So I'll show you my setup first and foremost. There's the prime attachment that I was talking about, the D handles. But if you have a lat pull down and you can brace your back leg up against that little pad, it adds so much stability, and it made the movement very, very challenging. Whatever your circumstances of equipment might be, make sure that whatever movements you're choosing, they hit the muscles well. So many times people will just be like, oh, I want to try something new, something novel, something I saw on TikTok. But my challenge would be, you know, if those movements hit, then use them. If they don't, stay with the tried and true stuff, right? I want to hit on exercise order as it pertains to kind of like those accessory lifts. I would consider most everything after the initial bench press to be an accessory lift, right? So the first tricep specific movement that I did was the overhead extensions, right? Did 3 sets of that. And then what I'm moving on to next is a JM press, which I'll show you what the form is for that. But the reason why I did that and I hit the kind of like more isolation movement first is it really helps warm up my elbow joints versus this JM press, which is pretty demanding on your elbow joints. You'll see exactly what I mean, but be smart with your exercise order. You know, the textbooks might say follow XYZ compounds, isolations, but the take-home message is do whatever works best and allows you to perform the best and stay injury-free. Second tricep focus movement is the JM press. Very different movement. A lot of people haven't done this one. It's been slept on. A little bit about this movement. It was developed by J.M. Blakely, who was a crazy impressive bench presser, right? Triceps contribute a lot to the bench. So what you want to do is take a very narrow grip. I'm still using the shoulder saver pad. And you want to touch that bar right around your clavicle. Controlled lowering. You will flare your elbows out a little bit more, which is why, like I said, I wanted to warm up my elbows a little bit, get some work through that joint to kind of warm it up. I am keeping the weight a little light. This is just 135, shooting for 8 to 12 reps. Let's get into it. Across so many different sports, triceps are super important. Whether it's your arm size, I'm flexing on you, but think how much triceps make up the circumference of your arm, making your arms look bigger. If you're a power lifter, you want to bench more. If you're a strongman, there's all kinds of pressure movements in strongman. Even football players, you know, generating that explosive pop off the line. So many things that triceps do. Make sure you're training them in a variety of ways. Compound movements, isolation movements. There's tons of ways to do it. If you don't have any of this equipment, take your push-up stance close, put your thumbs up like you're playing a game, hit some close grip push-ups. Make sure you're training your triceps if you're serious about making gains. All right, that set definitely got hard. We're moving on. Triceps are done. We're gonna hit some shoulders, hit some forearms, and get on out of here, get that post-workout meal. So, as you saw on that last set, my reps really decreased. I only got 5 reps, and I was shooting for 8 to 12. So now I know going forward, I'm probably gonna knock that weight down by, I wanna say 5, maybe 10 pounds, because I wanna make sure every set I'm getting at least 8, and then shooting more toward that 12 rep range. Once again, guys, hypertrophy training is a humbling thing. Like, so many dudes let their ego control what they do in the gym. They wanna be repping heavy weight. They wanna be looking big for their gym crush. But at the end of the day, if you wanna get big, you gotta put your ego aside. That's the moral of this story. Dumbbell lateral raise in itself is a great movement. Typically, I kind of hit like the middle portion of my delt when I do a regular lateral raise. But in the past, I noticed the front part of my shoulders were a little lacking. I don't get a great response from like overhead press in terms of hypertrophy. It's a great strength movement in my opinion. But with these full round dumbbells, you kind of bring them out a little bit more forward, and then you rotate your hands so you can go all the way up. Guys, that was 10 pounds. I think I had like 14 or 15 reps, and brutal. Give those a shot. Humbling, that's the name of the game here. Don't have much else to say. I feel like we've covered a lot of good topics. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate you. You're probably a good fan of me, or you enjoyed the video. So if you want to support the channel, I really appreciate it. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell if you want to see more videos on a weekly basis. Share this video around if you and your training partner are trying to hit a good push day, or if you just want to educate your friends on good training techniques, I'd really appreciate that. Shoot, I got 2 more sets, so here we go. On that 4-set lateral raises, the full ROM raises just weren't happening, so I defaulted into regular lateral raises. I'm feeling smoked. I'm gonna go get some food. I appreciate y'all for watching. Once again, I'd really appreciate if you supported the channel and me. I really do enjoy making content like this. If you have any ideas for a training session, a topic you'd like for me to break down and provide my opinion on, I'd really appreciate that, so drop it below in the comments. I'm about to go eat some cereal and protein. I'll catch you in the next one.